What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I want to talk to you guys about a video that I just watched, right? And the video was, why was Floyd Mayweather unbeatable? You know, in 50 fights, he's never been defeated. And, you know, he's only lost so many rounds in so many fights, right? Well, you know, and the question was asked to Amir Khan. And that's kind of funny they asked Amir Khan. But, and you know, Amir Khan, you know, he put some informative kind of general reasoning behind it. You know, I'm going to go more in depth because that's what I do, right? Amir Khan was a person that never fought Floyd. It would be different if, I don't know why they asked. I don't even know why it was asked to him. You know, I guess they just wanted his opinion. But, you know, if I was Amir Khan and someone asked me, why is Floyd Mayweather unbeatable? You know, it would probably angered me because it's like, well, I don't know. I never fought him. So I couldn't give you why. I never been in the ring with him. I never sparred with him. You know, I don't know why they were unbeatable. I just know that he didn't fight me. And that's the truth. That's the fact. Mayweather was supposed to fight Amir Khan, right? You know, you guys can remember about, 4 years ago, maybe 5. It was close to 4 because I think this was like in 2014. You know, early 2014. He put up a poll on Twitter and had people vote on that poll. And he asked the public, you know, like he cared what the public said, I had to say. But he asked that, who would you guys want me to fight? And he had 2 fighters' names. He had Amir Khan and he had Marcos Maidana, right? So people voted on it, you know, and you know, but you couldn't vote for anyone else because, of course, if they'd have put Pacquiao, everybody would Pacquiao, Pac-Man, you know. But you know, so everyone voted. I think it was like 67 to 30% in favor of Amir Khan. So what ends up happening? He ends up fighting Maidana anyway. And the only reasoning for him fighting Maidana was to avenge his quote-unquote little brother, Adrian Broner, because he got, you know, Maidana handed him his first loss, right? So he called himself being like the big Billy Goat, if you guys ever heard that story growing up, you know, to avenge his little brother, you know. And he thought, I guess he figured, well, I'm going to go in there and have a pretty easy fight, make myself look good, show up my little brother at the same time, and get a nice fat paycheck, you know? But it didn't happen that way. He went in there, quote unquote, cherry picked Maidana. Maidana went in there and showed him what was what. Maidana fought the boxer. And that's where he was successful. That's why Castillo was successful. You know, those guys that are fighters. See, Maidana is a fighter. You know, he's an awkward fighter. You know, he's a puncher. He's an awkward fighter. Okay. Well, you don't fight a fighter. You know, you want to box a fighter. And you don't box a boxer, right? So Floyd is a boxer. He's a pure boxer, defensive, one of the most defensive geniuses we have in this generation, okay? Well, he was successful because he fought him. You know, he didn't fight Floyd's fight. If he tried to box Floyd, that would be a very bad strategy, right? So he got out of that fight. But he got out of that fight like, whoa, I was in a fight. Maidana might have won 5 of those rounds. I call it like 7-5. But then he ended up fighting him again, right? And then, you know, that gave Maidana another opportunity because he ended up, you know, it was pretty much a cherry pick that turned into a real fight. That's basically what it is. Not a cherry pick that went wrong because he didn't lose, but he did get in a fight that he didn't anticipate. So, you know, after that moment, him and Adrian Broner fell out. You know, if you guys can remember, they had words because of something Floyd said, and, you know, that pissed off Broner because Broner was like, I thought we were better than that. And, you know, and then it really was because of the accomplishments of Adrian Broner, because Adrian Broner was at that time, he was a 4-time world champion. And then they asked Floyd, what did he feel about it? He said, well, I think that he's moving along too fast or whatever the case is, you know, and it came off negative. And that's how Adrian Broner took it. So for all we really know, that Adrian Broner could have been that guy that he just flocked onto or made, you know, took under his wing supposedly just to duck the Khan fight. So back to Khan, he never got the opportunity because Floyd knew certain fighters that he shouldn't fight. Just like I made a video years ago. I didn't get much, you know, much positive criticism. But, you know, if you ever notice Floyd Mayweather's career, Floyd is a great boxer. I'm not downing him, but I am questioning the fact that, well, you've never been down. Well, he did go down with Zab Judah. I can't ignore that. You know, it was just, you know, Richard Steele is one of the most crookedest referees in the business. Okay, so, you know, if it's a knock, you know, whatever the ref says, it goes, right? You know, he can stop the Mildred Taylor and Chavez fight in 3 seconds left, right? Where Taylor was winning, and that was really a loss for Chavez. But, you know, crookedness. Anyway, so it wasn't a knockdown. It wasn't a knockdown by the referee, Richard Steele. So he's never fought any Cuban fighters. He's never fought any. He's always avoided them like the plague. You know what I'm saying? And I always wondered, like, well, you know, why wouldn't you ever fight a Cuban in the ring? He never fought a Cuban professionally. If you look at his Wikipedia, if you look at his box rec, he's always avoided Cuban fighters. You know, why, you ask? You know, what's the deal about Cuban fighters? Well, Cuba has the most prestige boxers that amateurly that you can really think of. You know, he only won one round. He only won by 1 point when he fought a Cuban in the amateurs. I think it's Arangon, I think his last name was, that Cuban fighter he fought. You know, but he only won by 1 point. I think it was 15-14. You know, and that really wouldn't be a successful fight in the professional rankings. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that he would want to get in there with a Cuban of these days. You know, like, you fought Berto. I seen Berto fight. Berto has like 4 or 5 losses. He has 5 losses. And he looked like an old fighter. You know, honestly, I mean, he looked good compared to the fighter he was fighting, but he had no business being in there with Floyd Mayweather. You know, and I give no pity on any fighter that calls himself TBE or the best or whatever. I don't honor it, because if you are the best and you're still the best and you can still compete on a level, there's no reason you should take a lower, lesser fight as an exhibition to prove to yourself that you are the best. You're not the best because you haven't fought the best. You haven't fought Lara or Porter, or, you know what I mean? He could take a pick between whoever he wanted to fight. Okay. So, you know, he could have fought Lara at 154. Lara would have came down to 147 to fight him. But he knows, I'm not going to fight someone like that, because he's smarter than that. It's smarts outside the ring as well as inside the ring, because when you get inside the ring with these fights, you know, you can't figure out how to not get your ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that, especially when you pick the wrong guy. So Floyd knew how to maneuver around certain fighters in order to stay and remain his undefeated record intact. Okay, that's the bulk of the matter with Floyd Mayweather. So to answer Amir Khan's question, to rebuttal his reply, because he kind of gave a crazy reply, but you know, he didn't fight Amir Khan 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I mean? He didn't do that. He fought other people. He fought Berto. You know what I'm saying? Why would you fight Berto? Because Berto is the perfect fighter to look good against on your last show. So it's basically, he would rather look good than to look bad winning. You know what I mean? Than to really show that he was the best. Not saying that he could beat these guys, but maybe he couldn't. You never know, because he never fought them. He never took those hard challenges in his life. He did as Pretty Boy. But as Money Mayweather evolved, you know, that particular person started to rise. He didn't take those chances. He fought Canelo Alvarez. Okay, that was probably at Money Mayweather his best fight, his most impressive fight. You know what I mean? And Canelo's a good fighter. I take nothing away from Canelo Alvarez. It's just that, yeah, you fought Canelo Alvarez. You didn't fight Pac-Man until 2015. And both the guys weren't in their primes, but still, it's like you were afraid of the guy, basically. You avoided the fight, then you say you wanted the fight. So that is the truth, man. Floyd avoided a lot of fighters when he should have fought them. You know what I mean? He didn't fight none of the young guys. You give those young guys the opportunity. You don't fight McGregor for the money if you cared about boxing, which he doesn't. He cares about money. He stopped caring about boxing when he left Bob Arum. He stopped caring about fighting the best guys, the Gottis, the Corraleses, the Manfredis. And really, honestly, when he fought Corrales, right, he had a choice to fight one of those 130-pound champions. He picked Corrales because he knew Corrales was the best style. And that's when he was Pretty Boy. He looked impressive. But guess what? Would he have looked the same if he would have fought Yoel Casamayor? Who knows? He never fought him, another Cuban fighter. Someone with that Cuban boxing pedigree that's similar to his. You know what I'm saying? And I know the strategy to make money because he said it again in a Brian Kenny interview that if you take a black fighter and a Spanish fighter, and you'll make more money putting them two together. So, he does make money. He has made a lot of money. He's like number 3 on Forbes. But it's like this. It's the question will always brew. Did you fight the toughest fights just to fight them? You didn't. You let them pass by. You either laughed them off. Lara called them out. Thurman called them out. Porter, Garcia. All these guys would have fought Floyd. And it would have been more impressive in his career if he'd have went out fighting one of the undefeated fighters like Thurman, like Garcia at the time, even Porter, or someone like Lara, because a lot of people wanted to see that fight. Sure, a guy that a lot of Mexican fans wouldn't because they don't appreciate a lot of them. Some of them don't appreciate true boxing fundamentals. They just want a cockfight, basically. Like a classic Barrera Morales, so they probably wouldn't get it. But, in hindsight, I would have loved to see that fight. You know what I'm saying? That would have been a good fight to see, just because really, for one, it's Floyd, and Floyd was the cash cow. So he could basically pick whoever he wanted. That was a problem because it was like, okay, you don't respect belts. You've never been beat. And if you've never been beat, why would you respect belts? I get that because, I don't respect you sanctioning bodies. Oh, you make me fight Pacquiao? Okay, I drop your belt. I'm still going to make millions at the end of the day. So, it's one of those things where it's a guy, and Canelo's following that same footsteps. Cotto tried, and he failed, epic failure, because he waited and waited, and it's like Floyd gave everyone a piece of that doctoring that he fought to carry on. Even the guys he didn't fight. Guys look at Mayweather now. You look at Deontay Wilder. Everyone's worried about losing the O. Everyone. Even Joshua, because, he's friends with Mayweather too. So everyone's afraid of losing that O because they know that O, if you're undefeated, there's nobody that's on record of beating you. You could always market yourself more. So, that's what we have with Floyd Mayweather. And he's actually been somewhat of a messiah to boxing by spreading a doctrine of, hey, don't lose your O. Pick, if someone is offering you $1 million to fight this tough fighter where, and it's this other fighter that you only make $300,000, fight the other fighter. Because, that $1 million will probably be worth your marketing career later on in your career. While that guy that beat you for $1 million or you possibly could lose by, is the creme de la creme and you're not. Let that guy fight someone else and get beat with someone else and wait till he gets all beat down, then take a fight with him. That type of strategy, man. It's all strategy, man. It's chess, it's not checkers. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing on it. So the reason why Floyd Mayweather Jr. never got beat, possibly, is because he didn't fight the guys that were the toughest at the division or the toughest at the time. That's it. You guys tell me what you think about this. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. You guys been counterpunched. Peace.